It was the move that shocked the NFL world. I don't know that it did that. Cam Newton to the Patriots. Bill Belichick has done it again. This is all things Cam to the Patriots. I'm Ahmed Fareed here with Corey Robinson and Jac Collinsworth. I said it shocked the world, guys. I don't think it shocked the world. We thought Bill Belichick would do something like this, and he did.
I think Cam wanted to be a starter again. And that's a big piece of this. And at the same time, I think you got to factor in the fact that he couldn't go get a physical with a bunch of these teams. And so when you consider some of the history that he's had injury-wise, not being able to get him into the building, get him a physical and go, if you're the Chargers, Cam Newton's healthy, now we can pay him $100 million. That never was able to happen. And for what it's worth, he still hasn't had his physical with the New England Patriots. Yeah. So this is still yet to play out in front of our eyes. But there's no doubt he's an MVP caliber quarterback that I believe can get back there. Now, he hasn't played top 5 in the league since 2015, and 5 years is not exactly yesterday.
He hasn't had the physical, Corey, but he has been working out on Instagram and Twitter for like the last 3 months. And I feel like that's almost as good as a physical. Just seeing him work out and lift heavy weights, I feel like, okay, that's good enough.
That's what I'm saying. Don't you love social media? I remember when AB and Deion Sanders were working out too. It's just like, man, those guys are getting a lot of work in. Yeah, but he looks great on Instagram. I feel like I don't know if I can say that with a straight face, but
I think you can.
Yeah, I guess it's just most people look pretty good on Instagram.
That's true.
But I think with Cam, what's so fascinating about this is that you think about the NFL as a league. This is why I just find the NFL so fascinating that in 2015 you can be this MVP, Super Bowl, lead your team to the Super Bowl, and then within 5 years come out of the league to a point where you have to sign a minimum incentive-laden contract, which just means that the Patriots got him for nothing, and he's betting on himself. To think that you could be 31 years old and have to bet on yourself is a crazy concept, but in the NFL it happens.
I hope he keeps the hair too. I don't think it's not like the New York Yankees, right, where you have to shave off the goatee and the mustache, and the Patriots have nothing like that, although they seem like they're in the Yankees vein quite a bit there. I think I think a lot of people are giving Bill Belichick a little too much credit. The genius of Bill Belichick once again. It's kind of his MO. You just try to take a look out there and see who's cheap and who's maybe undervalued, like the Josh Gordons and the Antonio Browns, and you take a flyer on it, and you have such built up credentials from winning all those years that I feel like you can take those risks. And guys, I kind of think that's what this is for Bill Belichick, and it's you don't talk about it a whole lot. I think job security for a head coach can be a huge asset for teams out there. And we're seeing it with Bill Belichick. I mean, he can take a flyer on Cam Newton and they'd spend $7.5 million at most. And if it doesn't work out, it's not going to ruin his reputation, not going to cost him his job. And I kind of feel like it was the same thing that the 49ers did with Kyle Shanahan when they hired him, gave him 6 years right off the get-go. Job security. You look at all the teams that probably should have hired Cam Newton that didn't. I think a lot of it can be traced back, Jack, to the coach was not comfortable enough to take that risk and know that it was going to work out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can only imagine what the possibility is with Cam. And now you think about Bill Belichick having Cam Newton on a 1-year deal. So what reason does he have not to use Cam Newton to his full potential in terms of use him as a physical player, use him as a physical runner? You're down around the goal line, run him, put him around the edge, power quarterback runs. Not to mention, it sounds like they at least think Stidham is somebody who can step in and play quarterback for him. I don't know that he's going to beat Cam out. I think it's probably highly unlikely that he beats Cam Newton out. But I think you're going to see Bill Belichick do what he always wanted to do with regard to having a quarterback that can run and throw. Probably for as long as this has been popping up around the college level and then transferring to the NFL level, I can only imagine Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick going, what the hell would we do if we could finally get somebody with that skill set? And my guess is Cam Newton is top 2. I don't know who the other one would be, probably Lamar, Mahomes, if you want to consider him in that same category. Probably top 2 on that list of guys who can do both that Bill would want.
Yeah, what do you think, Corey? You think it's going to work? You think it can work out? Because it's different than what we've seen with Josh McDaniels, although I guess he does have some experience with Tim Tebow, but he couldn't run and throw. He couldn't throw. So this is completely different.
Yeah, Cam has a cannon, and I was watching some of his old highlight tapes too. Oh my goodness, I forgot how precise he was. I mean, he is a mastermind back there. I love watching him play. What I will say though, to your earlier point, Ahmed, is that I think that Coach Belichick is bigger than life, right? So if you're a head coach that is as famous and as big as Coach Belichick, then yeah, you don't mind taking an Antonio Brown and it not working out because like you're Coach Belichick. You know what I'm saying? That's like Coach Pop, right? Or like you almost transcend the sport in that sense. And because of that, you have way more leverage than other head coaches. Because like if let's say Cam Newton goes to Kyle Shanahan's team or Matt LaFleur's team, you name a head coach, right? It becomes like Cam is the show. And I think that's the difference in New England.
I thought about that, and here, like, yeah, and let's look at that for a second because I was thinking about that, and I don't know these head coaches, outside of what we just see on TV. But Cam Newton's certainly a force to be reckoned with. He seems to have a big personality, very strong leader. He's had so much success in the NFL. I don't know. It seems like, Jack, that's intimidating to some coaches. Some coaches that especially don't have job security. Some teams certainly have young quarterbacks that they want to groom that feel like they may be intimidated by having Cam Newton on the roster. But I was just going through, this is on ESPN.com. I was just going through the head coaches, and I was like, man, how many out there would feel comfortable in bringing in Cam Newton and being confident in themselves that they can make it work? I was like, okay, John Harbaugh's a guy right there, but they already got Lamar Jackson. Who else? Going down the list. There
Andy
aren't
Reid.
A lot. Yeah, Andy Reid, but they got Patrick Mahomes. What do you guys think?
Before we even get going too far down the list, I think the answer is not enough. Not enough coaches were willing to take that chance because with a quarterback who has everything to prove, who has been kicked out of the place where he called home, kicked out of the place where he was drafted, and sort of disrespected. I mean, I've seen some tweets from their Twitter account, not even including him on all-decade teams and stuff like that. It's just felt like a bit of a cold breakup as they brought in a new girlfriend and a new GM, new ownership came down, new coach. He makes his first coaching hire, and now Cam Newton is sent on his way. There's no quarterback that I would rather have on a one-year deal that is completely and totally pissed off, as Cam Newton will be, than Cam Newton. I think he is going to be on a mission like the likes of which we probably have never seen, almost like maybe when he was kicked out of Florida, went to Auburn, had one last chance to prove himself. What happened? A pretty damn good thing. So I think you're going to see that kind of a year from Cam with about $38 million next year on the back of his mind, or probably more specifically on the front of his mind.
Yeah, 100%.
He could handle it here. I think Mike Tomlin could. That would have been an interesting spot for me if Ben got hurt, and Chris Sims brought that up quite a bit, that Mike Tomlin, that might have been a fit there. Sean Payton, I think, could, but they're set, obviously.
For $7.5 million, I think everybody was probably assuming he would have been way higher than $7.5 million, and that's incentive laid. So it's if he plays great and you get everything you hope for out of Cam Newton, then you have to pay him only $7.5 million. I mean, think about that in comparison to the $35 million that is now that market value.
I mean, even Teddy Bridgewater signed a 3-year, $60-something million contract. I mean, he played 9 games last year.
Richard Sherman not happy about that, so he tweeted this out because Cam's basically getting the minimum. If he reaches his incentives, it can be $7.5 million. But Jack, there is the injury concern, and that was the thing that we brought up from the get-go, and teams brought up from the get-go. It's 2 things, actually. It was the injury concerns and the contract demands. And reportedly, the contract demands softened a bit for Cam, and that's how it eventually worked out and got done for the Patriots. But what do you make about those injuries, Jack? Because I was reading there's Jarrett Stidham, The Athletic, and it talked about the shoulder surgery in 2018, the Liz Frank just last year. I didn't remember the torn rotator cuff, actually, in 2017. So that's not insignificant. And so those concerns certainly are valid, but you just don't know if they matter anymore.
Yeah, well, I think anytime a quarterback has 2 throwing arm surgeries, you start to reevaluate. And you definitely saw that with regard to Cam Newton's market. But you go, so 2014, fractured rib, missed the game. 2014, a back injury, missed the game. 16, the concussion. Then he had the first shoulder surgery in 17, right after the season. 2018, misses 2 more games. Then he has another shoulder surgery January of 2019. 2019 misses 14 games with the foot thing, then has a modified Liz Frank foot procedure. So that's a lot of injury concern. And I think you factor in the way that he plays quarterback, which is not exactly the same way that Tom Brady played quarterback, not exactly the same way that Drew Brees plays quarterback. For Cam to best use his skill set, he's going to have to take some hits. And I think you can mitigate that. I think he should mitigate that. But on a one-year deal, Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, I'm telling you, I think they're going to use him in aggressive fashion because why wouldn't they? I mean, why wouldn't they use him to his full potential? And I think Cam's going to be up to that challenge, knowing that he has to prove it right now, or else there may not even be a one-year $7.5 million deal out there next year. If Schefter's reporting is right, which it always is.
Yeah, if he didn't get signed this offseason, I don't know that he latches on with a team in the middle of the year just because this year is going to be so crazy and so weird. I think it was going to be a problem for him. So I think he had to find a team, and he did. And I think it worked out well for both the Patriots and for Cam Newton. And I think some people are saying, Corey, that this shows that the Patriots were never serious about Jarrett Stidham. I don't think it necessarily shows that from everything that we hear. They're still very high on the former fourth-round Auburn quarterback. And it almost says that we do have confidence in him that we can take this chance with Cam Newton if those injuries do prove to be a thing in 2020 as they were the previous 3 years. Then we can go back to a guy that actually we have some confidence in. So I don't think it really is an indictment on their thought of Jarrett Stidham and what he can be in the future.
Yeah, I think in the NFL, there's very few instances of anyone giving money away. Even with a guy like Cam Newton, they're going to make him earn every penny, and like Jarrett Stidham's going to earn every penny. So, and I feel like most quarterback coaches or most head coaches that I know, they just love a good quarterback battle. I don't know why. I think they sometime like in this football psyche, it just pushes people to rise to the challenge. I don't know if I agree with that.
Not enough though,
but
because there were so many teams out there that, Washington with a young quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, they didn't really want to battle. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, they didn't want to battle.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think they're enough, right?
I don't think so either, but whatever. I'm not a head coach. I don't think it's a great thing. But if I was Cam Newton, this is what I would do. Let me tell you. I would rent a house right next to the practice facility. I would not leave my house for like 6 months. From August to February, I would not leave. I would order Seamless. I'd get a Netflix account, and football would be my life. I wouldn't go to any bars. I wouldn't go to any clubs. I wouldn't hang out with any celebrities. I wouldn't get within a stone's throw of a celebrity. And I would just say, look, this is my chance to make a lot of money, to win the Super Bowl, to do whatever, to have a great season. Because the problem is that we are a part of this whole, this machine that's building up Cam to be something that is just almost like godlike right now. Because a couple months ago, no one cared. People were like, Cam Newton's gonna, no one's signing him. They're taking Dalton before.
I think Cam is building up Cam to be godlike. I think he thinks he can go out there and dominate.
I know that's true. All I'm saying is that I feel like what you need to do is just manage expectations. And I don't know right now that Cam and the Patriots are doing a great job managing expectations. Because guys, what would be a failure for Cam Newton and the Patriots this year? I'm very curious to hear your perspective.
Losing the AFC East.
Yeah.
So
they haven't done that. What has it been?
playoffs.
What has it been? Has it been like 13 years, more than that, where they've?
Yep, correct.
10, right? Yeah.
Fewer than 9 wins. I think all of those things would be a failure. Now you can knock all those out with one stone too. Shoot, Corey, you're describing 6 months in a house with a Netflix account. Boy, does that sound familiar? It's like, yeah. I've been there. I've done that.
Cam, reach out to Jac Collinsworth if you need any help.
I'll let you know how to do it. You're probably gonna need a Hulu too. You're gonna need a few other things. We'll talk about it. I was going back and thinking about his receivers because we just got done talking on the last podcast about Tom Brady and his lack thereof last year, and now all of a sudden you view the Gronk. Belichick letting Gronk out the door in a little different light. It was like, man, is that really the smartest thing to do? Just letting him walk and become a free agent and go make things happen with Tampa Bay that easily? Or should he have considered keeping Gronk in the building? Because now you're going to have Edelman, N'Keal Harry, and Mohamed Sanu, all good receivers. I don't know if there's one big dominant guy. Edelman over 30 years old now. N'Keal Harry, we haven't seen it yet if he's going to be that high level of a guy. Mohamed Sanu really a number 2 receiver. And it makes me at least think, what would this have looked like if instead of going N'Keal Harry in the first round, they have gone DK Metcalf, who is now a Seattle Seahawk? Because when they passed on DK Metcalf at the time, a lot of people thought that they were going to pick him at the end of the first round. Now DK slid, but he's become the great receiver out of this class. There's a lot of pressure on N'Keal Harry. If he doesn't become that, that's going to be viewed as a very downer pick by Patriot fans.
That's funny too, because Jack, I think, Bill Belichick and the Patriots get a whole lot of credit for finding the diamonds in the rough. They don't always do that in the draft. I feel like they do a lot better job, and correct me if I'm wrong here, they do a lot better job of evaluating talent once it's in the NFL, taking one team's asset that they're not utilizing correctly and using it better. But I feel like they've missed in the draft, and it kind of, you're right, the receiving core is a little light, and so it makes having a dynamic quarterback that can do other things and create on his own even more important for the Patriots.
For sure, and I think what Belichick does best now he is, to me, the best GM in the NFL, and I don't think it's close. I just don't think it's close. Now, he's one of very few, Bill O'Brien and other, that are able to coach and build the roster, that they don't have to do that in partnership. They're able to do that themselves. But I am with you that his best asset is that he is able to buy players when they are at their lowest value. He's able to get the most out of them, then he's able to sell high. I mean, think he tried to trade Gronk to Detroit a few years back. He would have been down to trade Tom Brady a few years back for Garoppolo. Yeah. He's one of the most ruthless GMs ever, too, and he doesn't want to pay anybody. I mean, Edelman played for discount. Gronk played for discount. Tom Brady played for discount. Cam Newton's about to play for discount. That is what he does so that he can build winning rosters. If you don't want to do that, great. You don't have to do that, but you're not going to compete for championships in New England.
But then you also get the chance to learn and play under a system, hopefully compete for a Super Bowl or at least a playoff contender. And then you can still sign a big contract elsewhere, right? That's kind of like I feel like kind of the game plan for a Cam Newton is if he just 1 year deal does go super well, and if he signs big in New England, maybe he doesn't get the chance to sign big, or maybe he goes somewhere else and says, "Hey, look what I did there. I'm still in my prime. I proved all the haters wrong. Now pay me."
I think that's a good point that we don't think about enough. We think about the Patriots, it being beneficial to them to take a flyer on some of these guys, but you're right, it's mutually beneficial. If Antonio Brown goes to the Patriots and has a huge year in that culture, his market's right back to where it was before. I think that's a good point. I wonder if Bill Belichick can talk him out of that font that he uses.
I knew we were going to bring up the font.
Why does he do that? What is that? I haven't seen anyone else do that. I guess that's just his thing.
That may be why it's brilliant though, because then you can brand, make some T-shirts out of it, make some merchandise. I was watching he's got the YouTube videos cranking. He's got the YouTube channel cranked up. He's pushing the traffic in through his Instagram and his Twitter into the YouTube. And on the YouTube video, he's just walking on a treadmill. And he just crossed the hour mark on the treadmill. And he has his camera. Pan this in. Look at this. It's just crossed the hour mark. And then he catches you up on everything that's happening. That's the image that Cam is creating right now, because it's probably the reality. I mean, I think that all of everything, one offer, getting kicked out of the building in Carolina, is so far underneath Cam's skin that you're just going to see Cam in an angry mind state, which is what I've been waiting to see for a long, long time.
And this is what makes sports so good. And I'm a huge baseball fan, and it's one of the things that's frustrated me about baseball over the last 10 years is that we like, it's been proven. As Americans, we love big personalities. We love people who are bigger than the game, bigger than the show, but just the celebrity status. Embrace it, and Cam Newton's embracing it, and there will not be many players that more people are interested to see how they do next year than Cam Newton, for some of the reasons that we just mentioned, the stuff that he's doing off the field and creating a spotlight for himself. I love it. I wish more players would do it. Maybe just more players don't have the personality, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, he called himself Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this, though. I was thinking about this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dwight Howard was also coming up. I remember them both coming up around the same time, right? So you had a Superman in basketball and a Superman in football, and they're both just physical specimens. But yeah, I think Cam has always marketed himself and branded himself as this larger-than-life figure, and he's so much fun to watch. He plays with so much joy, and everything he does is a highlight tape. And when you have that sort of, it's almost like an alchemy. When you have those things together, there are very few people who can do that. I mean, it's like T.O., I'm trying to think who else. Because even the superstars,
well, you have to,
are more like the superstars in tennis. When you think about like a Patrick Mahomes, he's a good dude. He's fun to watch, but he also is like straight and narrow. Tom Brady is focused. That's like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. Now you need to have sort of like the explosive Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan. You need to have those personalities, and Cam is one of them, right?
Well, you have to be confident enough in yourself because you have to be good. If you're going to do that and you're not good, you get crushed and you get made fun of, and it's humiliating, right? And so you have to have the confidence that you're going to be good to be able to put that much a spotlight on yourself. But I think he will be, though, Jack. And I think you can make the argument that last year, when the Patriots win 13 games, I mean, how many games did Tom Brady actually win them with his arm and his play? I wouldn't say many. I don't know. There might be the chance that Cam Newton, with his own abilities, can put the team on his shoulders more than even Tom did last year.
Belichick's the greatest defensive coordinator of all time and schemer against great quarterbacks. It's always the chess match between quarterback and defensive coordinator. And as far as almost any game that I've seen, now there's a handful of outliers, but big time games, big time quarterbacks, Belichick shuts them down from a mental perspective. He knows what they want to do and is able to neutralize that. So Cam's going to have to score, 17 points in those big games. If he can just figure out 17 points, that's a lot of what Brady had to do to win games. And I think we're falling victim a little bit to acting like Cam Newton is old. Tom Brady, when he was Cam's exact age, 31 years old, he was 2 weeks removed from that ACL surgery. You guys remember that ACL surgery? Seems like it was a lifetime ago. That was 344 touchdowns, 132 wins, 3 Super Bowls, and 2 MVPs ago.
Wow.
Cam Newton may be a New England Patriot doing some crazy things for a long time. With a defense like that, a quarterback gets a few passes along the way, and I think Cam will reap some of those same benefits.
That's fun. You know what? He could, right? If he can play, if he's 31 right now, you mentioned the physical way he plays, and his style's a little different. You don't know if he can have the longevity of a Tom Brady who's playing at 43 right now.
But you can always evolve, right? You can always evolve that game.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, Jack, I love the pun there. He as a quarterback gets some passes. That was really nice.
That was good. I even missed that one.
The best is when you don't even know you did it.
Guys, we should have done this. So this is brought to our attention. His MVP odds for Cam Newton were 300-1. Then he got signed by the Patriots. They went to 40-1. Some dude put $100 on him and could win $30,000 if Cam Newton wins the MVP.
Wow.
And then what was the reply to that tweet? He's making less with the Pats than he did with Auburn. Boom.
Oh my gosh. Twitter is so savage.
I know. I can't get off Twitter. I would love to be able to stop Twitter, but it's just like the jokes like that, and then you see something that's. But yeah, I don't think it's likely he wins the MVP. I don't know. I would have to look at the list and where I would actually put him. But that'll be a narrative. It's always play on the field, winning. I mean, I guess if the Patriots can be one of the best teams in the NFL, then he'll be right in that conversation and narrative. So I'd still probably put him behind 10 other people, but I guess he's in the mix right now.
I don't think it's unlikely.
That's true.
I don't think it's unlikely at all. I mean, Josh McDaniels, probably 30 teams, maybe 20 teams, if you want to be conservatively, would take Josh McDaniels as their head coach right now. One of the most respected offensive coordinators in all of football. All the time he has spent with Tom Brady perfecting that offense and doing certain things. And moreover, the amount of time he's had thinking about what he would want to do if he could have one of these running quarterbacks, somebody that can open that element up and maybe a triple option, maybe some power running for the quarterback position. We forget these guys 6'6", about 250. Yeah. I mean, he is a freight train running. And now you put a little bit of motivation behind him, which I believe he will have, and it will get scary. We haven't even mentioned yet, from a PR standpoint, this is one of the most brilliant moves of all time. This is one of the most brilliant moves of all time. They get punished for Spygate 3, and at the same time, they go ahead and they just slip out the back door. It's like, yeah, we got punished Spygate 3, but we got Cam freaking Newton. And guess what? There's one story we're talking about for the first 25 minutes of this podcast. We haven't even mentioned the cameras in there filming the sideline of the Cincinnati Bengals for the 8th time.
No, it was a real thing, guys. It was a real thing. It was for Do Your Job, a YouTube show on the Advanced Scout. Which I actually, you know what? I was looking at the whole Spygate thing because I was like, what really happened here? And if you're unfamiliar with it, they were caught once again taping a sidelines, this time from up in the press box, which you cannot. It's against league rules to have one of your videographers record the sideline from the press box. So that right there, no matter the intent, was against the rules and is probably why they got popped the 3rd round draft pick and $1 million fine. But the story was that they were shooting a story on what it's like to be an advanced scout, and you got to watch the sideline, you watch the substitution patterns. Maybe I'm just gullible, guys. I kind of believed them, but because it was against the rules, regardless, that they got crushed.
Yeah, it was the Bengals and the Browns too, right?
Yeah. And I mean, why you got to cheat against the Bengals? They were 1-12 at the time.
Hey, take it easy on Bengals. You know what I'm saying? but they were in a position where they were getting ready to play the Bengals. That's why it was like a week or two before they were playing. But
that was the story. It was they're following an advanced scout, and that was his job to advance scout the Bengals. I mean, that really was the.
Yeah, that sounds like a Netflix original series.
But I get it. They're not going to get the. But I get it. They're not going to get the benefit of the doubt because of what they've done in the past, and they got to be responsible for their videographers. And I will say this: people think like, well, how would you not know if you were? I'll tell you what. I've done a lot of jobs in TV where we have no idea what we're doing. We're just like, oh, I didn't know I could. I'm sorry. You end up on the field and you're not supposed to be on the field. And people are like, how'd you get down here? Like, I honestly don't know. I'm sorry. So it's totally believable to me that some camera guy was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to shoot that.
For sure. They're like, yeah, I didn't know I was supposed to shoot the sideline over there for 10 minutes straight. Shoot the guys on the signals.
No, because if you really wanted to, if you really wanted to cover it up, just buy a ticket to a game. I mean, and get a camera in the stands. You don't go up into the press box and do it. I feel like they could have done that smarter if they really.
Yeah, this isn't like an Ocean's 11 movie or something. Obviously, I don't know who they have in the Patriots office, but they need to watch more spy movies. That's a little too straightforward.
Guys, what about this? So, what about our producer Matt Casey gave us this idea. The second chapter to the careers, an all-time great second chapters. And so I was looking through some of the more notable ones, and you got Deion Sanders, who had a few chapters, even a baseball chapter in there too, going from the Falcons and then being elite with the 49ers and Cowboys. There aren't a whole lot of players that can do it. I think Cam has the ability to kind of make his name in Carolina and then New England. But that was one. And what do you guys think? And then you got Kurt Warner did it too. Mm-hmm. And actually he did it before then because he was a bagger. Remember that? So it was like he reinvented himself as a football player again. And then Peyton Manning's done it.
Mm-hmm.
Clutch points. Thanks for the Photoshop there. Shaq did it a bunch of times.
That's like a rainbow.
That's totally a rainbow.
Oh my God.
That is a rain. Is that the way the rainbow goes? Is it like indigo on the?
Yeah. Look at that. That's actually a rainbow.
That really is.
Not all those worked out. I wish we could give photo credit to whoever did that. That is true. That's pretty cool. LeBron has done it very successfully. Dennis Rodman has done it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I think is that it? Oh yeah. Tom Brady, maybe. Who knows? Although I think it's here. That's the funny thing, right? It's way less likely that it happens for Tom Brady than Cam Newton. Tom Brady's got what? Maybe 2 more years left. Maybe, who knows? Never bet against Tom Brady. But what do you think? What are the chances that we're talking 10 years from now saying like, wow, Cam dominated MVP in Carolina, was one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the NFL. And then he went to the Patriots and he did it again. And he was at the top of his game.
But once again, this is the thing that is just so fascinating to me about professional sports. No one cares what you did last year. And everyone's talking about, I can't believe a former MVP signed a $7 million deal. Once again, no one cares. He was injured last year. He played how many games last year? And that's how GMs evaluate talent. That's how coaches evaluate talent. No one cares what your resume is. So what I hope happens is that Cam, like Jack is saying, it looks like he's fired up. It looks like he feels disrespected. It looks like he feels like he's the underdog. And we all know he's one of the most dangerous men in the world in the backfield. So once he comes back and proves to everyone, hey, I'm still here. I got 10 more years left, and I'm going to make sure that you'll never forget, never sleep on me again. hopefully then that ushers in a new era. But right now, Cam has a lot to prove because, like I said, no one cares. No one cares what happened 5 years ago. It's a sad reality of the NFL.
And I think the only probably knock that you could have gotten on Cam was maybe that his ego was pretty big. I mean, I don't think there's any question that Cam, I mean, you're watching film, watch this. I mean, just the way that he sort of carries himself. I think he's definitely got a pretty big ego to him, but there's no better place to go with that mindset than New England, because egos just don't exist up there. It's all about the team. There is one voice when you get to New England. It is Bill Belichick's voice, and then everybody else falls in line from there. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Cam Newton, especially on a 1-year deal. That's the leverage Bill Belichick gives you. It's not like we were signing him to a 3-year deal or whatever. It's a 1-year deal. So it's either going to work and we're going to sign you to a long-term deal. It's not going to work and we're not going to bring you back. So from that standpoint, Belichick has Cam exactly where he wants him, where it's like, dude, we got to go right now. We don't have time to waste. We don't have time. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all about ball. That is the power of New England. Now, there's times in the past where it hasn't worked. I think about Chad Johnson. I thought he would explode there. Didn't work out. Antonio Brown, that one probably would have worked. Didn't work out. There has been times where it hasn't worked. Randy Moss, that one worked out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a 50-50 situation almost, it feels like. But you look at what Cam has done. I mean, you go back from 2011, 2018, touchdowns accounted for. He is in company, 240 touchdowns. He is in company with Breeze, Rodgers, and Brady. That is it. That is it. So this is one of the best quarterbacks in football. And can he get back to that level? That's the question. Because it's been, I mean, ever since the 2015 MVP season, Super Bowl season, when people act like he may be the best quarterback in football, he hasn't had a season with a grade inside of the top 20 as a quarterback. That's substantial. He's got to fix that.
But Jack, all the guys you mentioned before, Chad Johnson, Randy Moss, AB, they all have egos, and they didn't last. They didn't last in New England. So I wonder, will Cam do you think he will actually be able to, to deal with it?
Some guys do, and some guys don't. I mean, I got to have a lot of conversations with Teddy Bruschi working at ESPN. Got to have a lot of conversations with Randy Moss during the NFL countdown stuff. And don't act like Randy Moss doesn't have an ego. I mean, when he got there to New England, I mean, I think he probably for sure had a pretty big ego. But he fell into the Patriot way. And if you buy into the Patriot way, Bill Belichick will have your back until the day you die. I mean, from every respect. But if you try to live outside of the Patriot way or try to do it the Cam Newton way and then let your teammates live in another world, it's not going to work. I mean, Jarrett Stidham's going to be the starting quarterback. So I think it's much more about how Cam buys in from a mental standpoint that will translate to the success more so than what anything he can do from a physical standpoint. We know he can compete in that world.
And I think it will just be a function of, are they winning? Is he having success? If he's dominating out there, he's going to have a big personality. He might not act as we're thinking of the Patriot way. He might be the more flamboyant Patriots quarterback we've ever seen, but if they're winning and if it's working, I don't think Bill Belichick's going to have a problem with that. And so I'm fascinated.
I don't know about that, Ahmed. I just don't know. I don't know that you're going to see that big personality. I mean, think of the transformation Tom Brady has made since leaving New England. You know what the only thing you hear Tom say? Do your job.
And
we're a great team, LFG, and we can't wait to get back to work on Monday. That's all Tom Brady said for his entire career. Now look at his personality. They don't allow for personalities in New England because it distracts from the only thing that goes on there, which is football, and Bill Belichick having the only voice. So we'll see. I mean, there's no question he's a different cat. But I mean, this is a transformed Tom Brady. I
wonder though, Jack, because remember we're talking about last episode with Chris Simmons' podcast. We were talking about the leadership qualities of a quarterback, and one of the biggest things, right, is letting the team trust you and kind of take over your personality. And you'll see that Cam, can he lead in a muted system? Can he lead as a quiet quarterback or as that kind of clear-cut quarterback? Or does he need to say, look, I'm going to get you fired up. I'm going to be running on the sideline. I'll be waving a towel. I'll be flipping into the end zone. We have fun here. We play ball like we play backyard NFL street ball. And, that's, if you want to play here, that's the team that we do. And I'm your leader. I wonder, can he lead in a different system? And I don't know if he can, because I've never seen him lead that way.
I don't know that he needs to be a quiet quarterback. And internally, I think he can be Cam Newton, but from a on the field perspective, from a media perspective, the first time he makes it about Cam and not about the New England Patriots, Belichick's going to have a problem.
Gotcha.
I mean, Tom Brady made it
tough.
Tom Brady made it about Tom Brady a few times. I mean, you saw him on the sidelines, and he would crush some folks over there. He was
about
loud.
You saying get into people, like yell at them, like
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that Cam would. I'm not going to assume that Cam's going to do it necessarily about him, and because I don't think necessarily when we think about Cam back in Carolina. I mean, he did the Superman thing, but that's after scoring a touchdown. That's a celebration. I think that's kind of cool. Some of the stuff he's done in the last year, it's been off the field, all the videos there, is a function of him just not being in the league, and that's really the only way he could get his face in the spotlight. I'm not totally convinced that Cam Newton was a me guy to the point where it was detrimental to Carolina ever. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting some stuff, but I don't know.
No, that's a great point. I was just saying I think he leads with so much energy. And I just don't know if that is rewarded in New England. I've never really seen that. I've seen focus and intensity rewarded, but I haven't necessarily seen that childlike joy of just we're playing ball. Like we're just out here having fun. It seems like New England's much more focused and not sterile, but just very, very, very focused. Yeah,
there were some tough moments for him in that Super Bowl too. I mean, the image right now that's lasting with a lot of NFL fans is the ball on the ground in the Super Bowl. You have to get on it, and Cam chose the health of his ankles. I mean, that is the reality of that moment. Any other quarterback does that, we're never getting over that. I mean, as a football fan society, we are just never getting over that. I think Cam sort of got a free pass on that, and then he had some wild things to say in the post game after that Super Bowl too. So I think that but let's not blame him all for one moment, because he was a young guy, and now he's really entering what we consider the prime of an NFL quarterback's career, 31 years old, where it's the prime both from a maturity standpoint, from a football knowledge standpoint, and you still have all your physical tools intact. I mean, assuming he's healthy, this could be the run of a lifetime for Cam Newton. So I don't want to say that a guy can't evolve. Because I think they can. I think it's very likely that Cam Newton has.
I can't wait to see it. And the only thing that I'm bummed about, well, there's a few things I'm bummed about, but one of the things I'm bummed about is that we won't have fans in the stands, because I think hearing the crowds home and away for Cam Newton and watching him, I think that would be super special. So maybe we'll have some fans in the stands. I don't even know anymore. But any other final points? Anything on Cam to the Patriots? I think we hit it all. We even hit his font on Instagram, which I didn't know that we'd get to. Anything else?
I mean, I think Stidham's going to have an interesting time to continue to develop and grow and compete without the spotlight. And
I think it's good for him. I think it's good for him.
And I think that the biggest thing about, at least in my personal opinion, I said this to you guys before, if you're a younger quarterback, it's nice being able to have space to learn, develop, and grow. And you always want to be kind of under the radar or like an underdog, right? I feel like as soon as you're in that spotlight of, hey, if we don't win our division, you're out, because that's a failure. That's a really hard place to be as a quarterback, particularly a young quarterback. So I think Stidham, don't sleep on him. I feel like he has added motivation, and I feel like he's going to take it every day and say, look, like, I think I can beat you out too. I was this close to having to be the guy of this team. I'm not going to just hand my job over to you. So I think he will be a threat still to Cam.
And Jack, if he does beat him out, right? I mean, that's really good news for the Patriots. It means that Jarrett Stidham's the real deal, and he just beat out a former MVP.
For sure. I'll say this: he ain't no Cam Newton. He just ain't no Cam Newton. So he's not going to beat him out.
Not yet.
I mean, it's going to take. Here's the thing, though: if you're going to use Cam in the manner that we think that they are, you want to have two quarterbacks. Yeah. You want to have somebody else that you feel like you can bring in. That's a big part of this. The lasting point that I will leave on is one offer from one team. And how did that Cam latest piece of content end? I'm coming for next. That's Cam Newton that you're about to see in New England. You pair that with a Bill Belichick defense, and look out. They're right back there at the top.
Just change the font. It may be a new font, the only knock that I can have on Cam right now. All right,
He's
guys.
make
Well
some money
done.
with that font.
It just bugs me a little bit.
Oh
Well
my
done,
gosh.
guys. Jack, Corey. That is all thing Cam to the Patriots.
See you, fellas.